listening to Fiction Faeries, two authors chasing joy and creativity. I'm author Amanda Torrey.
And I'm author Christine DePetrillo. Welcome to our podcast where we amplify joy, whimsy, and the magic of the written word. Good morning, Amanda. I love your sweater.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Christine. So happy to see you this morning. And I had to bundle up because it is freezing in my house today.
Oh, get against the elements that are indoors.
Yes. I'm like, but I'm hoping the heat is going off soon. So I'm going to just get used to being cozy. You know?
Yeah, I like it. And if you're just listening, she has a lovely, it's almost like a Nordic sweater, Nordic ski lodge kind of vibe going on that I love.
Thank you. I've had it for a really long time. I want to say back to college when I was much smaller and it fit much bigger, but I can still put it on. There's not as much, room, but
yeah, well, it looks cozy. Cozy.
Thank you.
That's for sure.
Thank you very much.
I like it.
So one of the things we like to do here on Fiction Fairies is share what's in our chalice. So in my magical chalice today, I have my cup that says the best way to predict the future is to create it. And I thought that was perfect for our topic today, which we'll get to. But in it, I have some blueberry lavender tea with honey. And I also, I have to show you, because this brings me joy, I also have my giant gallon of water.
Woo, that's a lot of water.
And I have my regular one too, but this is for refills because I have to carry it with me. Because I find joy in preventing kidney stones with hydration, which we will not get into, but just saying, listeners, drink a lot of water.
Yeah. That gallon would last me about a month. It would take me about a month to get through that.
Well, it has times on it, to say by 9 a.m. you should be here, by 10, so really, I don't know if I could drink the whole thing in a day, but I'm going to try.
I find drinking water, I love water and I do drink it, but having it periodically throughout the day, and I think you probably can relate to this as well, being a teacher, that's one of the maybe little known facts to people outside of the world of the classroom is that teachers don't drink a lot because they can't go to the bathroom a lot.
Dehydrate yourself, yeah.
Yes, pretty much.
But unfortunately, that terrible habit leads to things like kidney stones and other health issues. So, we do need to take care of our bodies.
Yeah, so today's PSA to the Joylings is to drink a lot of water. Well, I'm drinking. What's funny is I rediscovered, because I forgot I had it, and in keeping with where our Spirit of Joy topic will be today, I've got my dainty little teacup, which has some little purple flowers on it.
Beautiful. So I love the handle, too. It's very fancy.
Yes. Now, so my mom and I had gone into an antique store at one point. We each treated ourselves to a fancy teacup so that we could have tea parties. But I will say that this makes me very nervous, just even holding it. Right? I can feel my pulse accelerate holding this dainty and delicate teacup because I do break things. So,
well, you're doing a very good job. I'm
trying to two-hand it, hold it very steady.
You remind me of my toddlers.
I'm drinking honey lavender. So you had honey and lavender. I'm just missing the blueberry this time, but I had blueberry last time, I think. Yep. So nice. That's what I have today in my fancy little cup.
I thought if I stuck to herbal today, I would talk less fast. We'll see if it works.
We'll see if it
I do still have the Massachusetts in me, but Okay, sorry.
Well, I think even the teacher in us too, we're used to keeping things moving, right. Get it in before some student eruption happens and we don't get to continue. Yes.
So true.
Yeah. So our main goal with this podcast is to meet authors and other creative people, go behind the scenes into the creative process, build a whimsical and weird community, highlight the power of play, and find joy in creativity. So let's get to the joy.
Okay,
Amanda, how did you invite joy into your life since our last episode?
Okay, well, actually, this joy that I'm going to share was Christine actually suggested this to me because I was in my dentist office, which does not necessarily bring me joy. However, it was the waiting room, and I texted her because there was a song playing from the 80s, and it was "Let's Hear It for the Boys" by Footloose, from Footloose, and I have heard it recently, but it's one of those songs that it comes on and you just need to move your body. And so I was texting Christine about it and she's like, oh my gosh, that came on when I was in the car last week. It was this really weird moment where we're we're like on this wavelength. And so we're just sitting there. I'm like, it's so hard not to dance, And so I'm like, all right, my foot is moving, and she's like, are you alone? I'm like, no, but now my shoulders are going a little bit, So, it's just the joy of embracing your inner weirdo and letting her out and dancing in waiting rooms if you need to. I did not get up on I wasn't like crazy exciting to be around. It was a little minor, a bebop in my seat. But the joy is like in these like old songs that bring so much nostalgia. So I feel like today in this world, everything's very cultivated. Like I have my playlist that I designed on Spotify that I can listen to when I'm in the mood for certain things. And I do listen to a lot of older music that I loved as a kid or a teenager, but it's all stuff I like put on there. And then all these songs kept playing. It was like 80s day on whatever station they were listening to. And, like Bon Jovi comes on and like all these things that are just like, oh my gosh, it just made me so happy to hear these old songs. And I'm like, I have to be more intentional with like allowing myself to hear random music again, because I don't really listen to the music on the radio as much as I used to. And so I don't really get exposed so much to like...
that
kind
like
of surprise. Yeah, like the surprise of like a moment coming out at you,
Yeah, that's why I like, because I too obviously have curated lists, but what I like is to have the shuffle feature.
Yes.
Because then that is like a true surprise.
You don't know
and you have like a ton of variety too.
Yes.
But you had that experience in the dentist office. That often happens to me when I'm in the grocery store.
Yes, that's how we know we're of a certain age.
Yes, yeah, and I'm like, I'm looking at cereal and I'm like, oh hey, I remember this song. And the other thing too, which I had asked you too when we were texting, I was like, I'll bet you remember every single word of that song too.
Every word.
Yep.
I love the image of you like picking out your cereal. You're like, okay, I need high fiber because I'm of a certain age. But oh my gosh, now suddenly I'm a teenager hanging out in town with my friends and like doing crazy stuff.
Yeah. I'm like rocking down to Salt and Pepper down the down the aisle. Yeah, right. Agreed. And again, knowing everywhere. The best, however, the way that joy can be pushed over the edge is if there's another shopper also in the aisle and of the same age, and your eyes go. And the two of you are just like, and
I mean, the grocery meet cute of like friends, like women who connect over music that they loved at, when they were younger. I love this.
No, it's the crone community finding each other is what
that's
what
the bat signal.
So, yes.
Bon Jovi is calling us.
Yes. I'm just envisioning I'm envisioning this bat signal as being like a head with like a lot of wild 80s hair. That's the signal that's up there.
It is
that we all go, would all call us. Yeah.
We're getting our leg warmers on. We're placing the bangles on our wrists. Like we're going for fluorescent colors galore. We're in it.
Yeah. You know what? You just sparked in my mind. We need an episode that's like 80s joy.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
Write that down.
I have an I love the 80s shirt. I know exactly where it is. All
right.
So
we're digging it out.
We're doing it.
All right. Prepare yourselves, listeners. We're going there.
That feels like a summertime thing.
It does. That's the windows down. Yeah. Okay.
We'll get our assistant to put that on the calendar.
Absolutely. Assistant. Oh, hold on. Where's my pen?
Yeah, exactly.
I think I dropped it actually.
Yeah. Well, all right. So my recent joy
yes, please tell me.
So I made, and this is so silly, but I made a brownie in a mug.
Oh, yum.
Okay. Now, not a dainty mug like this.
No.
A nice sizable mug. Like this yes. Mm-hmm. A brownie for one. And it was just one of those things where, I had a craving for some chocolate. Had to have the brownie. Mm-hmm. And so I just kind of hopped online and I was like, there's got to be, I had made in the past like a chocolate chip cookie in a mug. I'm like, there's got to be a brownie in a mug. There has to be. Go online, in the World Wide Web, it delivered, gave me what I wanted.
Thank you, Web.
And then I absolutely, I actually had the ingredients needed. Nice. And so I made this brownie in a mug and it was just so delicious. And it just was all the joy I was looking for. So simple, but and I don't try to make a habit of eating that stuff like all the time, so like that even made it more special too, that it was just like this one little moment of joy of eating this brownie. So that was my joy.
I love that. It's funny because I have a scene in one of my books where she makes like a cake in a mug kind of thing, but it comes out very badly. Like, it's not like a good experience.
Yeah. I mean, this wasn't, I was really craving like just a really, a center brownie when you make the 13 by 9. I just wanted that center one. So it was a little drier than that, but it did the job. It did the job. So
see, I'm a corner brownie girl. So we would do well to share a pan of brownies.
Yes.
I like the outer edges. You can have the inner ones.
Yes. That's how my husband and I are. He likes the end of the bread. I don't like the end of the bread. Yeah. So like I will go into the middle of the loaf and leave the ends for him. And he's delighted to have the ends. So it's like, same thing with the brownie too. Yeah.
This is like the new compatibility test for like partners, friendships. Like, can we get along if we, which part of the
middle or end? Yeah.
Best if we don't like the same thing. Oh, I love that. Well, these are such great joys, and I love that they're small joys that bring us great happiness,
Yeah, yep.
But then, so our topic for today is actually, this was your first time making a brownie in a mug.
It was.
Well, let's see. We need a drum roll here, but we're going to discuss reveling in the firsts of the season. And as we record this, actually, it's the eve of the spring equinox, but when this comes out next week, it will be 1 week post spring equinox. So we will be fully in the northern hemisphere. So we're fully in it. We're embracing it. And we've all been suffering from the winter blues here. I think even if you love winter, you get to a point where you're like, okay, I need longer days. Like,
yes,
we got to move on from the slush, and we're just craving this, new spring. So, we're on the hunt for those early signs of spring, right? I mean, we need hope. Give us hope. We want to see it starting. So we're looking at the fairer weather, the snow melting, the buds on the trees. Like, there are so many signs that are starting, and it's so exciting. So today on the Fiction Fairies, we thought we would explore finding joy in these seasonal firsts, because we don't want to just let them pass us by.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. And we tend to celebrate things like first dates, first kisses, a child walking for the first time. So there are also important firsts that come with the seasons that are worthy of celebration. And again, if you're in the northern hemisphere where we are, you're going to be celebrating spring. If you're in the southern, it'll be autumn. But either one applies. They're just different signs, right? But those firsts, it's just... there's a lot of joy in looking at those firsts.
There really is. And as your self-designated joy and creativity coaches, that's what we like to think of ourselves, put our little hats on, we'd like to guide you down the path to noticing these firsts and using them as seeds to plant in your garden of creativity. So in the spirit of creating as authors, we tend to think in the 3-act structure. So we've developed for you a 3-part journey to fully indulging in the seasonal shifts.
Yes. So the first step is to notice. And here's where your powers of observation are your greatest tool. As the seasons change, you have a wonderful opportunity to pause, to do what so many people recommend and be in the moment. Beam in the moment, and notice what's happening around you. When you commit to noticing, you're forced to slow down and pay attention. It's all about that, zooming in. Yeah,
so true. Like, we're always in this rush, but there's a lot to pay attention to when winter melts into spring. I mean, it's like the snow is like this gift wrap, it's like around a present, and the seasonal change allows us to uncover it. So we're gonna unwrap that gift that Mother Nature gives us.
Yep, it's like unburying these natural treasures.
Ooh, I love that.
Well, because I'm surrounded...
Unburying natural treasures.
Yeah.
I just want to say that.
Picture myself out there, just X marks the spot, and trying to look there. And I'm surrounded literally by nature on all sides. So there's so much to notice when the seasons change. I mean, for months, everything has been blanketed in deep snow. And I will be honest, as of this recording, there is still snow out there. And I did look ahead at the weekend forecast. There is more snow coming.
Goodness. But the snow that never ends.
I'll just put that aside, because despite that, we've had some warm weather and there has been a lot of melting. So I have already seen some seasonal firsts.
Oh my gosh.
So many.
I'm so eager to hear like what firsts you've been seeing so far, because I'm not in the woods. Like I'd really love to hear like what's going on up there in Vermont and in these deep woods.
The deep woods seasonal firsts are, I've already seen the first patch of grass uncovered. And what was funny is when I had let the dog out, I mean, pretty much everything else was covered, and there was just this little patch near our garage, and the dog went right to it.
Oh, he's like, okay, I'm ready for this patch of grass.
He's an expert at step number 1 in our 3-part journey, the notice. He noticed with his nose, I'm sure, but he went right over to it, which again caused me to go right over to it, you know. And I was like, oh, I'm like, look, you found the first patch of grass that's revealed itself.
Now pee on it.
Yes, I know. I'm like, let's go over here to the snow that's already filthy. Yeah. There are first buds on the trees, so some of them. I mostly have maples that surround me. It is a sugar bush where I am, so those aren't quite yet, but I can see buds on some of the other species. Yeah. And I do have a mountain view, which looking out at it, most of the peaks have been white tipped, and some of the lower ones now, there's some, first peaks at mountain peaks that don't have snow on them, which is great. So that's happening. There have been some first sightings of different birds who have been away for the winter, and just even the bird song in general has picked up, so especially when we had some of those, warmer days, I would go outside and I'd be like, oh, I haven't heard that one in a while, and you're back. Welcome.
Aw, we missed you.
Yeah. First caterpillars. I've already seen some first caterpillars, which that one always astounds me because I'm like, there's still snow out here. Like, where have you been?
Cold?
Like, how are you out? Do you want a sweater? Like, what's happening?
Oh, maybe that's why they have their little furry bodies.
Yeah.
They're sweaters.
And I do always love to see those first caterpillars, because then my mind can then think about like, okay, be on the lookout for the first moths, be on the lookout for the first butterflies. So like that one sort of starts a chain reaction of things to notice.
They're like the harbinger of good things to come.
Yeah. The first critter prints, but in the mud instead of the snow.
Yeah,
so that's fun because there are different details to see in a print in the mud than in the snow, So that's kind of fun. There was something the other day when the dog and I walked down the driveway. There was this one section where there were 2 different sets of prints, and they were not the dogs.
Really?
One was larger than the dogs, and it was a paw print, and one was smaller than the dog. So I feel like there was a worldwide web of animals, something happening down there.
Oh man!
And of course, dog's noses to all of it, and he's like, what happened down here? But now that's again some critters waking up.
I'm just like imagining now on the spring equinox, like all the animals gathering and like leaving you extra prints to observe, like, but they're in like this celebration of like spring coming.
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing, like I want to be invited to the gathering. I don't want to just see the prints.
I know.
Like I want to like be part of that. Yeah. So
absolutely.
Also the first fresh smell of spring, like that kind of like we've had some rain, so that rain soaked dirt kind of just the smell.
Want to
that
bottle
spring
it
smell.
Up. Yes.
Yeah. The first sprouts just yesterday, actually, I saw the first little sprout of colt's foot, which around here there's a ton of it, which it appears first as a yellow, almost like dandelion looking, and then later the flowers go away and there are these huge wide green leaves that kind of like are everywhere.
Oh, interesting. I'm not familiar with that one.
That was another one too where I'm playing with the dog. I'm like, don't step on it, leave it.
Protected area.
Okay. Yeah. And then one big one for me around here that I always love to notice is we have a stream on the property that there's like a man-made waterfall, and then the stream continues down the land naturally, and it like it actually goes underground and ends up in a pool that's down in a lower field. But like during the winter, the waterfall itself like kind of glaciers over. You can still hear a little bit of water, but there are points where the water in the waterfall stops completely. You can still hear the stream a little bit, but it really just kind of glaciers over this waterfall. So for me, the first sound of that rushing water on the property, because that waterfall can get very loud and get very like extreme.
Wow.
I'm talking like Niagara Falls. Nice. Like this thing pours out and makes such a lovely sound. And so I've been hearing that, and that to me, that's like spring kickoff. Like, okay, things are thawing, the water is moving. Yeah. It's almost like spring is rushing in on this waterfall, you know? So those are some of my natural firsts.
Well, and I feel like that like connects back to our talk about the music. Like that's like your soundtrack to spring, you know, like, and it's bringing you back to like past springs, and like you're just moving into, you know, the future.
Yep. Ones. That rushing water and the bird song is the soundtrack of spring around here. Absolutely.
I love it. Yep. I love it. Yep. I love it. Well, I don't live in the woods. I live in a more like suburban, rural town, but in sort of, I call it like an urban setting. It's not urban because it is a small town, but where I live, it's houses and apartment buildings all around, and it's a main road. So
yeah, I was gonna say you're on a main road, right?
Yeah. So I don't hear a rush of waterfall. I hear the rush of traffic. You know? Small town traffic, but still traffic. We get the big trucks and things. So, you know, some of the first signs that I notice are a little bit different, and maybe some of you listeners can relate. One of the things that I think signals like, I'm sorry, I'm trying so hard not to say like so much, but it's really hard. And you never realize how much you never realize how much you say it until you listen to yourself on a podcast.
Well, that goes back to us growing up in the 80s. Like, so we can't like help it.
It's just a thing.
Like for real.
Like for real. It's just part of the lexicon. Oh, it drives me mad. But, anyway. So now I'm very aware of when I'm saying it. Whew, okay, starting over here. So one thing I noticed as an indicator of the first sign of spring is when I could roll down the window in the car for the first time. I was driving with my nanny kids to get them from school, and it was a gorgeous day. And I put down the window, and I'm like, when did I last do this? When did I last put down the window? Well, it was probably back in the fall.
Yeah.
So that was exciting. The first time wearing short sleeves outside, that sort of heralds a change in the season. The first time leaving your house to run out in bare feet to grab a package or something from the car. You know, I mean, I have a paved driveway, so it's easy, you know, and it's not far from it. So even if it's a little cold, as long as there's no snow on the ground, I can usually go out bare feet because I love to be barefoot. But you know, like there's something about this. I know you can see it now. Every time I say like, I see your face now. Now you're aware of it too.
I'll just be making a little tally over here. No.
We'll have a bingo game. Listeners can check off every time. Oh gosh. Okay. So there's that. The bare feet. Oh, another one, which was not as pleasant. However, last week I smelled my first skunk spray of the season, and it happened to be pretty much right outside my bedroom window, which, hello, skunky. We keep a little habitat in the yard for you so you have a place to live and, you know, berries that grow for you to eat and whatever, but please don't spray and smell out my whole house and my whole car. But whatever, it's nature, so I'll accept it. It's a sign of spring, so.
It's still a first, yep.
It's a first, so that was like, okay, well, we know it's not winter anymore, or soon to be. First time opening the windows in the house. Love that. First time turning off the heat. Counting down for that one.
Yes.
The first
time.
So
is my wallet. My wallet is counting down for that one too. Oh my
gosh. Yeah. I'm like, can we just wrap in blankets for the rest of the season? The first time picking up children and being able to take them to the playground after school. This happened for me last week on one of those absolutely gorgeous days. I was able to pick up the nanny kids, surprise them with, we're not going home to do homework, we're going to the playground. And there was snow all over, but they were in short sleeves. They had their boots on, but this particular park has a section of artificial grass, which I don't love, but a lot of it had melted. So they took off their shoes to climb this net thing, and go for it.
Joy.
Go for it. Have a blast, you know. But then I have to put the boots on to go to another part of the playground because it's still snow, like up to your ankles deep. Okay. So, the first time visiting a seasonal business that's only open in the warmer weather. So I know recently I've been seeing Facebook posts and things about restaurants that are opening up. And I was like, is there actually spring Is it time for them to be opening already? Because I think of them as a summer business, but they do in fact open in March. So that's exciting. And also the restaurants changing over their menus, getting spring drinks, spring foods on the menu. So that's always an exciting first. The first time seeing invitations for seasonal events such as Easter egg hunts, things like that, spring hikes. You start to see more of that coming up. And that's a sign that we're coming out of the dark cave and ready to re-engage with the world. The first time noticing more people out. I live near a bike path that is a very popular walking area, so people walk by my house all the time to go there. So I do see good amount of traffic, but when the warmer weather starts coming, you really see an influx. And it is just, there's an energy to it that people are just so excited to be out and to be experiencing nature again, and to be getting that fresh air, and just knowing that we're sort of moving out of the dark time of the year and we're finding the light. It is really lovely. And also I'll start to notice loud music when people are going by, because their windows are down, and there's something about putting down the windows that makes you want to blast the music, right? Yes. I mean, I think that's a pretty universal experience. So yes, I start to hear more and more of that coming up. And sometimes I judge the music because I'm like, what is that? But I think everybody should have their joy, so good for them. And then just in general, there's that first stirring of wanting to get out, wanting to go for a walk, wanting to go for a hike. This compulsion to enjoy spring and just get out there and welcome the trees back, and greet them as they're blooming and all that wonderful stuff, and just searching for the things. So spending time noticing that a new season is coming just brings us so much joy. It's a fresh energy, and and my firsts, being so different from Christine's firsts, remind me that the more to notice more of what Christine is also noticing, because I have to go somewhere to notice it more. I do have some trees, but it's not the same as being surrounded by them, so it makes me, when she's talking about these things, I'm thinking to myself, you need to plan this weekend to go for a hike in the woods and really pay attention and see what the world is doing, because it's phenomenal. And yesterday I noticed my garlic popping up, and things have been growing. I clear away some leaves and there's a whole bunch of growth under there. So it's been working under the snow. Nice. It's been working. So yay.
And what's funny is your more city noticings are a message to me as well, to go to the closest small town and get some of those first as well. Yeah, so, just see that spring is waking up both in nature, but also in human communities. Yeah. So
just shows how connected we are to nature, that we have that same compulsion. The skunks are coming out.
Yes.
We're coming out as well. We're not much different. So
yeah, I never feel closer to the animal kingdom than I do during the seasonal shifts, whenever they might be. Yeah. So, I find myself behaving in ways that the animals are also behaving, absolutely. And it's just a good connection to have. So our first step was to notice. Yes. Once you've taken the time to notice these seasonal firsts, and they've come into your field of view, and you've been present enough to stop for a moment and be like, oh, hey, that's the first time I've seen that this season. It's time for step 2, which is to collect these joyful observations. You can see just by the way that Amanda and I were talking about these first, we're smiling and we're I saw this and I saw this. It's has a natural joy to it. So we want to collect those. And there are a few ways to do this. So in the past, I've actually kept a firsts journal in which I just quickly wrote down all the seasonal firsts I've noticed. And it was just a nice way to kind of have them there. Yeah. So that's one way that I've collected my noticings.
I love that. And it gives you that kind of creative part too, of being able to sort of monitor it. Last year I started really gardening in earnest, and I kept a notebook sort of tracking the sun position, because I was trying to figure out where to put my grow bags and my raised beds. And I needed to know, because there are some trees that shield a large part of my yard. So I had to kind of figure out at this time of day, the sun is here and here. And so I also started, paying attention. Oh, when did this thing sprout outside versus when it sprouted inside? Because I was doing all kinds of experimenting. And it really gave me sort of this historical document to reflect back on and to look at. And now as I'm gardening this year, I can compare and contrast. And it's really fun. getting those like seasonal noticings in there. And another fun thing is that I love to just like make notes on my phone, dictating as I'm driving. So if I notice something going by, I'm trying to make more of an effort to kind of collect those seasonal firsts that I notice as I'm driving. So I can just talk into my phone and have them there. So it's the on-the-go method as well.
I like it. Yeah, so like you can't, you might be like, oh, I don't have time to record things, or like to collect these things that I notice, but like you really do. It doesn't take that long. Yeah. And so like a third method that I've used for collecting is taking photos of what you've noticed, and that's a nice way to be visual about your collecting. So like if you don't like to record or you don't want to write things down, just snapping a quick photo. I mean, nowadays a lot of us have access to a camera all the time. It only takes a couple moments to like snap a photo of that first sprout or that first patch of grass or the first whatever it might be that you've noticed. So it's another way to collect through photos.
And if you post those images on social media, then you not only get to share the joy of the seasonal firsts with others, and that forms a connection point between you and your friends who are noticing similar things, or maybe they haven't noticed yet, and then they're going to be on the lookout for them. So you're but it also creates a record of those seasonal firsts, and they come up in your memories year after year, at least on things like Facebook, where 1 year ago, 5 years ago, and these things do leave your memory a lot of times, but when they keep recurring and coming up, it becomes more of a cemented part of you, and brings you joy when you look at it now versus then. So you get to re-experience it and share it with your peers or friends.
Yeah, you're so right about that too, especially like the historical record of it. I found a couple weeks ago, I had bought these beautiful orange tulips, and they brought me such joy to have them. And what was funny is, on either day, either before that or after it, in years past, apparently, according to Facebook and Instagram, I bought tulips at exactly the same time.
Gosh.
So it's funny because buying tulips at that time of year is a seasonal first for me, which I wouldn't have really realized until I could see this catalog of photos where I have these tulips, many times orange tulips, around the same time of year. So I really feel like buying those tulips is very much tied to my first seasonal noticings,
it is,
right?
For
so
sure.
There's something happening in the landscape that's like, hey, spring is coming, and something in my brain is like, gotta go buy tulips and have them in the house to bring a little spring inside. So so that collecting like that is great, because like you said, it brings you joy when you did it, and then when you look back on it, that joy kind of resurfaces. So
and it's bringing me joy because now I'm just imagining you being a little like tulip fairy, like sitting in the cup of the orange tulip, like little Christine with your fluttery wings.
My tulips.
I don't know. I think you might be a tulip fairy. I love it.
Maybe.
I love
it.
That's
Could
fantastic.
be.
I'll be a daisy fairy.
Okay. We've got our flowers all picked out. Excellent. Yeah.
So the final step in our three-step journey is to revel. Revel in these seasonal shifts that you've noticed and collected. How do we do that? Well, what would the fiction fairies tell you to do? We create, because we are creative beings and we find joy that way. So when the sprouts peek from the ground, our creativity grows as well. That's right. What we want.
The fiction fairies are all about the creating.
Yes.
We can't let these noticings that we've collected go to waste.
No wasting here.
We got to do something with them. This is what it means to be a creative person. Everything around you is material. You can turn your seasonal first noticings into a whole bunch of things. So we've got some ideas for you that you can carry out this third step of revel.
Yeah.
So one big one for me is that the noticings turn into poems. Just in terms of me thinking about the first things that I've seen around here, a poetic structure was kind of coming into my mind. So your collected noticings can turn into a poem.
I love that. And also like nature collages. That's something I do with children a lot, where we just collect things we find on the ground and then glue them onto a poster board or paper or cardboard, anything around, and just create sort of a collage. If you want something, you could maybe collect, flower petals, maybe your tulips as they shed onto your counter, gather those up and create some kind of collage-y art. That's always fun.
Yeah, that's a good visual and texture. It could be a good texture kind of activity too to revel in.
And you sort of preserve it.
Yeah. a vision board of seasonal plans.
That's creative.
So I know for me, like I'm thinking about, we have a lot of walking trails around here, which have been pretty inaccessible, obviously, through the winter, but they're beautiful trails. And so I'm kind of, waiting for them to thaw. So that's something like a seasonal plan that I would definitely put on a vision board. So right before winter, because my dog had received training and he could kind of be out and about on trails, I was getting into that, and then winter hit. So I'm really eager now for everything to thaw out and to go back out there with him and see how he does.
Well, that's fantastic. I would love to see those vision boards too. That's so cool. Short stories. Like, let yourself be inspired by something you see, and then when you get inside, just jot down a quick short story. It could be a page, it could be a paragraph, it could be 5 pages, 10 pages, whatever the muse wants from you. Just revel in it.
Yes, love it. Create your own meditations. This is one I really love to do.
You.
Yeah, I can't say that I necessarily am great at meditating, but I love the visualizing that goes along with it, because it's very poetic. Like, I like to listen to meditations. I can't say that meditations help me calm down or any of those things, but I like to listen to them and the poetry of them. And these seasonal firsts are so great because, you get that real strong connection to nature kind of going on in them. So those first noticings lend themselves very well to meditation. Like, imagine yourself as a new sprout pushing your way through the land, it just flows.
It writes itself. Yeah. I mean, that's
it
fantastic.
does. Yeah.
And that sort of goes with, this idea of writing a letter to the season also, and keeping it in a file to reread. Because I think we always talk about living in the moment and being present. And sometimes it can be really hard, especially if we're enduring something like seasonal blues or anything like that. And it can be really hard to see the positive and the uplifting. But it might be a good thing to, as you get into the last months of winter, maybe pulling out this letter you wrote to spring last year and reading it and just reminding yourself of what you felt, what you're going to feel again. And it just gives you this kind of moment of saying, like, we're going to get there again. We will get there again, and we'll feel that way or similar, and it'll all be okay.
Yeah, it's hopeful. It's a hopeful exercise. Yeah. Another way to revel is to, if you happen to have taken photographs as your way to collect your noticings, you can print those photos out and you can frame them and kind of have like a seasonal gallery. That's something I brought into our conversation today, because it is something that I want to do. I have this mountain view, and I have this idea of taking 4 pictures of it when it's in the prime of each season, and kind of having this 4 framed thing that I think would just be awesome. So that's another thing you could do. Yeah, I've got to do it.
You have to do it. I think now you're putting it into the universe. It's done.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Yes.
And I think that's such a strong suggestion, because I take pictures of everything on my phone. I have tens of thousands. I always have to buy more storage from Google, but I hardly ever print them out. And it's really a loss, because one of my favorite things is when I'm cleaning out a closet or something, I find pictures of my children or when they were little, and I can lose myself for hours. So I really need to be more mindful about printing out photos, because how often are you searching for them on your phone? They sort of get lost in this digital space. So printing them out and actually displaying them and letting your friends and family, or just yourself, see them and enjoy them, and it's conversation. And I'm going to commit to that one.
Yeah. Well, there's something, we're in a timeline now where printing them out doesn't happen that much unless you're like a professional photographer. Right. But I think there's something, I think the art itself of photography is magnified when you have it like physically. And then, when you take it a step further and frame it and do something with it, like, for example, if I were to do that 4-season thing, it's more than just the pictures. Now it tells a story. Absolutely. Right? So,
and it's historical as well, because then you can compare it to other years and what those peaks look like in 10 years from now or something.
Right.
And I also just kind of thought of it, but wouldn't it be kind of fun if you printed out pictures that you've taken of nature and then used them as like greeting cards, and just it's, or framed them and wrote a special note on it for somebody, and then they have this work of art that you, like, your vision and something that you saw, and you're connecting with somebody else that you love or care about. So
yep, all with the seasonal firsts.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Starting a mini garden, either inside or outside, to work with the rhythm of the seasons, I think is a really great way to tune yourself into noticing and collecting and reveling in those firsts, because gardeners have to know sort of what's coming, and you just look forward to it. The things that I planted last year that are sprouting now, I can't even describe the joy it brings me. I didn't even do anything yet for them, and they're just living their lives, and I love it. So I'd recommend it, even if it's just a small box, growing some herbs in your windowsill. It doesn't have to be anything big.
No. And on that same vein, like things like a rock garden or a seashell garden, those are things too that can commemorate those things that you notice and commemorate the seasons, because they can be used to like delineate areas where some seasonal firsts happen. So just that manipulation of symbols of the seasons out there.
Yeah, imagine if you picked up a seashell every year on your first walk on the beach, or if you picked up a rock every year on your first walk in the woods or something, and just like put them on a windowsill or in a special container. That would be so cool to sort of collect those memories and watch them build.
It's a memorial. Yeah,
I love that. That's so fun.
I like it.
For those creative songwriters out there, perhaps you want to write a song about what you've seen. So, I'm picturing us out there singing about the first time I wandered down the country lane. Or something. I envy songwriters. I need a whole book to evoke the kind of imagery that people are able to put into a song. But to those of you who dabble in that, that's a great way to engage your creativity and revel in the firsts of the season.
Yeah. There may even be, like, again, I love music, but I'm not a musician, but there might even be ways of composing just even the music, even if there aren't any words to the song, composing music that feels spring-like or whatever. Yeah, like maybe like something that mimics bird calling or water rushing, right? Those natural sounds that you can replicate with instruments could be really cool.
Or even like gathering those sounds and putting them in the background to instrumental music, like the dance of the fairies. Maybe the instrument is the fairies, and then it's surrounded by these other nature sounds. Well, now I want to write music. I don't know how. But...
Me too, right? And that music you create could be combined with, creating your own meditation. So there are things on this list that can be put together.
Use your creativity and just piece things all together.
Yep. Another thing you could do to revel in seasonal first is to sculpt something, if that's your medium. If you like working with clay and pottery, there's I'm certain there are things that you could make that would honor the things that you've noticed.
That's so true. Yeah, absolutely. And along the same lines, crafting in general, candle making. Imagine if you picked up some things and used them as decoration. I've never made candles, obviously.
But that's on my to-do list.
It is. I would love to do it. Yeah. I would love to do it.
Yeah. There is a place near me that does that. So when you come to visit,
we're doing it. All right, we'll do it. So candle making, maybe scrapbooking, knitting, maybe using colors that you're inspired, that you've seen out in nature. Maybe you go to the knitting, the yarn shop, and choose some colors that remind you of those firsts. Jewelry making, anything that you are pulled to for your creativity, you can tie this in with noticing all of these seasonal firsts. Reveling in it.
Making fairy houses, which I highly recommend. I've done it, and it is just wild. And what I love too is it became for me a place to notice seasonal first, because so for me right now, I have fairy houses that it's 2 tree stumps, so they're kind of tall, and then we put roofs on them and windows and doors or whatever, and then made a little garden in front of it. But it's been covered with snow like up to its roof line. So one of the first I've been noticing is that snow is coming down, and more of the fairy house is being revealed. It's almost like a yardstick out there, right? Yeah. So, but making the fairy houses too, because then you are using some of the natural materials that you have noticed around, and it's also like just a good kind of whimsical invitation for the season. So,
and you're playing.
Exactly.
And you can't have anything better. That baking fairy houses, I feel like, really taps into so much of what we talk about here.
Yeah.
So do it. And then you get to use your imagination and imagine, or you really know that they're there.
Fairies are there. Yeah.
Which also leads us into the suggestion of perhaps you want to design your own oracle cards. Like a deck of, Christine and I both share an interest in different oracle cards and the beauty of the art on them and just the wonderful fun messages. And it's just sort of a fun activity. So if I were artistic, I could be, because creativity does not have to be perfect, No. But maybe someday I would want to, and I'm sure there are some of you that would really be so good at just creating an oracle deck inspired by the things you've seen out in nature. Maybe it's those fairy houses, maybe it's, buds, whatever, different, it can be anything, but an oracle deck would be so fun. And if you make one based on the season and your findings, your noticings, let us know.
Yeah, because the moment you were saying that, I was like, if someone were to make a spring, winter, summer, fall deck, I would buy all four. I'm just going to say it. That's a one-click.
It really is, and because you would have to really, to make a whole deck, that's a lot of noticings, and I feel like that would tune us into noticing those things as well, because I'm sure there's stuff we haven't even thought about or seen ourselves. Right. So yeah.
Another way to revel is to just keep a file of descriptors of the season. So if you notice something, you can pull that one noticing and then maybe just jot down different words and images and things that go along with that. And you'll kind of have almost like a database of seasonal things that you can use. And if you're a writer and you're trying to describe the setting in your book, you can kind of go to that file and be like, okay, this story takes place in spring. Let me look through the file. Fantastic. And you might have a whole bunch of stuff that you came up with because it was fresh in your mind. So they can lead to future creating.
That is so valuable. I think it would be fun to kind of make a recording podcast style while you're out and about. So when you're walking by things like the waterfall or my bike path and seeing the changes in the forest around there, just talking about what you notice and just pick up the ambiance. You can maybe play the sounds and have them recorded and just speak into your phone on your, little recorder app, and just record it. And then you have it and then you can listen to it. And it's not always fun to listen to ourselves speaking on a recording, but
it's not.
I'm here to say, just get over it. It's just fine. Just do it. It is not as bad as you think. It's fine. And you get to relive this moment in a really sort of whimsical way of you, just recording.
Narrating it.
Narrating it. That's the word.
Another thing you can do is painting. If you're a painter, you can either paint a scene of something you've noticed or, paint the object that you noticed or whatever is happening. Or you can actually paint with natural items. Pine cones dipped in paint leave very cool designs and leaves and other different things. So
I love doing that with kids. It's so fun too. But I'm sure as an adult, it's amazing. Flower pressing. Used to do that a lot as a kid. Have not done that in a very long time. But I think that could be a really fun way to engage.
Fun. Yeah. Creating seasonal recipes. So creative. Foods, teas, meal plans, seasonal themes, again, based on those first noticings.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think there's so many angles of creativity, and one could be fashion. Maybe you really like to design new outfits based on seasons. That is creativity. Yeah. That is reveling in it. Go for it.
Absolutely. And we have that phrase of spring cleaning, and I think that a lot of us sometimes are like, oh, I got to do spring cleaning, but you're creating order by doing that spring cleaning and organizing. So you have a creative vision to reorganize, to repurpose. So sometimes seeing these seasonal first, and then you've collected them, you kind of have that urge for freshness and order and a new start. So spring cleaning, I feel, is a way to be creative.
Absolutely. Especially when you're organizing those closets, you sometimes have to be really creative about how you put things and make space for things. So I love that. That's great. Creative. Creating a dance or a workout routine inspired by your noticings. I just think randomly dancing in your house when nobody's around, there's magic in that. And if you're pretending to be the sprout that's emerging from the forest, or if you're pretending to be those fairies, coming out from the cold underground or wherever they're coming from, that could be so fun. Just interpret it with your body.
Yeah. And then, because we are the Fiction Fairies, creating a space to read, but outside, where you can enjoy the seasonal, just enjoy the season. And you can indulge in someone else's creativity while you're out there, which kind of creates a creative transfer because you're taking their creativity in, but then you're creating images and predictions and different things in your mind as you're reading it while enjoying the seasonal shifts outside.
I love that because, they always say for writers, yes, the book is yours when you're writing it. And then as soon as you hand it to a reader, it now belongs to them. And so their vision is what takes over and you can't control any of that. And so that's like the magic of transferring that creativity. Love it. Yeah. Love it. Love it.
Love it.
And speaking of reading, we're going to enter the Pixie Portal today. And this is where the Pixies, us, choose backlist books to highlight. So we thought we would focus on the seasons in our stories. So we each picked a book of ours that we wrote and just thought we'd read just a little example of sort of how we can incorporate spring into our books in some way. And just to show you what you can do as well. So Christine, you want to go first?
Sure. So I'm going to share from One Kind Ride, which has got that nice green springness and a covered bridge because, of course, it's Vermont. This is book 4 in my One Kind Deed series. And the basic premise of this is that the main characters meet on a plane. And I will say that this book is based on a real life encounter. So I'm going to read something that highlights spring, but then I'll also read what's based on a real life encounter there. So there is, the setting is springtime. It's May in Maple Haven, Vermont, my small town. So at this point, the hero and heroine are on a car ride together. So they're in her vehicle. And he is helping to set up her phone so that she can have her playlist and they can listen to music in the car. And so she's handing him the phone so he can do that. So he took it, and a few quiet moments passed as the greening landscape of springtime Vermont sped by outside. Summer was JC's favorite season, but she could definitely appreciate May in the Northeast. Everything had budded, waiting to burst free and become all they were meant to become. She always considered spring that time where everything held its breath, hoping for the conditions to be right for blooming. Spring was like having your toes lined up at the starting line. The question was, however, what was she starting?
Oh, gosh.
So,
like the
little spring,
visual, the sensory details, and the metaphors. Love it. Perfect.
So, I love always describing the seasons. And again, descriptions like that come from the noticing.
You're noticing it. Yeah.
They really do. Yeah.
To get that in depth, you have to be noticing.
Yeah. All right. And so just to share why this is based on a real life thing, share the scene of that. So at the beginning of this book, JC is trying to get on a plane to get back to Vermont for her parents' wedding anniversary. And she's having trouble because the plane is full. So the hero, Finn, offers her his seat. He's like, you can have it. I'm not in a rush. Okay. So she takes it and she gets on the plane. So she's on the plane. And let's start from here. Wiggling to a comfortable position in her seat, JC went back to watching out the window. The checked luggage bin was almost empty. The flight would be taking off shortly, and she'd be toasting and hugging her parents in congratulations soon. Wonderful. JC's head snapped to the aisle at the low, raspy voice. Mr. Take My Ticket stood there, his body looking too big to be contained by the confines of the plane. A broody gaze studied her, then roamed to the empty seat beside her. What are you doing here? The question came out harsher than she meant it. He rubbed his forehead. Sitting next to you, apparently. She didn't like the way he said you, as if she smelled bad or something. She didn't. She sniffed quickly anyway, just to be sure. I mean, how did you get a seat? They told me repeatedly this flight was all sold out. They had a last-minute cancellation. And you took it? He held his arms out to his sides, those tattoos wonderfully on display. I'm here, aren't I? She'd been hoping for someone interesting to entertain her on the flight home. This dude definitely qualified. Well, sit then. He hesitated for a moment, then maneuvered his body into the seat. In the tight quarters of the row, his shoulder brushed against hers. She didn't move away, but he leaned on the opposite armrest, clearly looking for space between them. I'll bet we'll be great friends by the end of this flight, she said cheerfully. That cold blue gaze slowly rose to meet her hazel one. I've had 2 people die in the seats next to me on flights. JC froze for a moment. Die? I gotta get off this plane. So that part actually happened to me. I had gotten on, I had sat down next to this guy. We just were talking like in the pre-flight kind of stuff. And it came up, he's like, I've had 2 people die on me on flights. And there was an empty seat between us. And so I'm like, I'm going to leave this empty seat between us. Like, I'm not sitting there. I feel like I could be safe here. But it was just a matter of fact thing, too. Like what a weird thing to kind of share. I mean,
maybe
like,
tell you after the flight if he needs to tell you.
Yes. And I was flying alone, too. It wasn't like I was with my family or anything. It was just me and then this guy being like, I had 2 people die on flight.
That is so creepy. Why would he say that? Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But anyway, one kind ride.
Something good came of that.
I will assure you, neither of them died on that flight. So happily ever after, guaranteed in the lovely spring of Vermont.
I love it.
What about you?
Oh my gosh,
what about you? What do you have for spring?
Well, I think we've discussed this before, but spring has been my favorite season, like my whole life. That and fall. But I write almost exclusively about winter, so I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know. I feel like maybe I gave myself some like immersion therapy because I spent so long despising winter, and I wrote about it in almost every single book, almost every single one.
Well. But as we said, winter lends itself to that coziness that you want in a romance book. It does.
So. And honestly, when you live in New England, it takes up most of the year. So the odds of hitting a winter month are pretty...
Right. And I do find it challenging, like in summer, to like write cozy scenes because like in summer when you're covered in sweat, you're like, I don't want anybody near me right now. Do not embrace me. Do not hold my hand. None of it.
Put on more deodorant.
Right. And it's hard to describe, the heroine whose hair looks wonderful because in summer it's frizzed out and you don't look wonderful and you've got a sweat mustache.
That's
and
so true. So true.
Right.
So I did struggle to find spring, although I do love spring, but it also gave me a goal to write more spring. So I just have a quick paragraph. This is from my book, 2 is a Lonely Number, which is book 3 in the Healing Spring series. And it's an accidental pregnancy book with 2 people who are absolute players, never going to settle down. Almost very similar. It's definitely not like opposites attract, but there's definitely like a lot of tension with them, whatever. But anyway, they're having a baby. So she's driving, and she's at this point 32 weeks pregnant, and it's kind of before something big happens. But anyway, she's just driving down the road in New Hampshire. So here's my spring paragraph. Carly sang along to the radio as she drove into town, dodging slush puddles. March in New Hampshire was living up to his reputation as mud season, but this year, Carly didn't mind. Her baby would be born along with the other animals of spring, and she couldn't wait to spend a summer snuggling with the little thing. Tears gathered in her eyes at the realization that she had never been happier in her life. And then it talks about how she hadn't planned the pregnancy, blah, 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 blah. But what I like about that little vignette is that she wasn't happy about it when she first found out, but she had sort of grown to acceptance. And I love the connection with nature of like the animals are having their babies and I am too. And at this point, she's still calling it like the little thing and it, she doesn't really refer to it as a baby yet. That's sort of a growth thing for her. But, I mean, that is just sort of like a magical moment of spring when you see new life emerging in every way. So to connect it to her own body and, So anyway, that's one way to incorporate the season with something that's going on with a character in their life.
Yeah. I was just going to say that setting and character really came together there in that scene. Cool. I love it. All right, let's transition to, first I should say there are links to those books down in the show notes if you want to check those 2 books out. All right, now let's transition into the Sprite Spell. And yay! We need some like catchy like music for Sprite
fireworks
Spell.
or something. Magic fairy dust.
Our last one was wisdom from the younger you, which we asked you to create a communication from the child you to the adult you. And it could be, any kind of format that wanted to take. So for me, my child me wanted to write a poem, which is not surprising. I was writing poems early on. What form did yours take, Amanda?
Mine was a letter, and it was like younger me speaking to older me about the things that she was grateful that I have done, things she hopes I do connect with again that she loved as a young child. And it was really fun to delve into that. A little emotional, but
agreed.
It was fun.
Agreed.
It was fun.
Yeah, I feel like it brought up a lot of visuals too, like of my youth.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it put me back into places that I kind of hadn't thought about for a while. So. If you want to read our communications from our younger selves to our older selves, we have opened our veins and spilled them on the page and are willing to share with you, our listeners or viewers, because, there's something about being vulnerable that I think is really important for connecting with other humans. So we would love you to see our vulnerability, and we would love you to share yours if you're ever so moved. We would love to see that. So, check out our Fiction Fairies Substack at the link in the show description.
Yep. And if you're already subscribed to the Fiction Fairies Substack, that comes to you automatically in your inbox, but you can get to it by the link
Sign
below
up so you never miss a thing.
That's right. So, and Amanda, what is our next Sprite spell?
Oh, our next Sprite spell is, of course, we're going to follow the 3-part journey for enjoying the seasonal shift, because we want you to notice, collect, and revel in the new season, whatever the new season is for you. So for a reminder of what the steps are, check out the link in the show notes for a graphic created by Tulip Fairy Christine, the queen of graphics. You can share with us what you noticed, what you created. We want to see it all. We love it. We love it. We love it. Love it. So by participating in this, we hope you experience more joy in the changing season. Like, don't just shuffle through life. Enjoy it. Be in it.
Yes. Yes.
Do what we tell you.
Be in it. I like that. Be in it. Yeah.
Be in it. Listen to your joy and creativity coaches.
Amanda's getting a little aggressive. So we'll see how we did in this new Sprite spell in the next episode. And Joylings, tell us about your progress with any of the Sprite spells. Many of them can be ongoing things, or if you have skipped around and looking at the episodes and then you just discover a Sprite spell, there's no expiration date on these. So you can comment wherever you listen or watch the podcast, or you can direct message us on social media. Our links are in the show description and on the About tab of our Fiction Fairies Substack.
Absolutely. And I think that brings us to the end of episode 13. What a fabulous number.
13.
Lucky number 13. So if you enjoyed the Fiction Fairies podcast, please hit the like button, subscribe, find us on social media, perhaps leave a review, and tell everyone about the podcast, because, we want to be able to spread the joy. And I have a lot of people in my life who have told me that they enjoy watching the podcast, and yet they do not like or comment or review. So this is a special call out, just to let you know. We do appreciate feedback, and it helps us to grow, because if we want our thing sort of distributed to other people that don't, already know about it, we need those metrics.
Yes. And if let's think about this. Amanda and I have made the podcast in an attempt to spread joy. If you share the podcast, you are also part of the mission of spreading joy.
You're an amplifier.
So, you are. We call upon you for
Joylings.
that. So, yeah. And if you're a creative person and want to be a guest on the Fiction Fairy podcast, there's a form in the show description and on our Substack to contact us, and we'd love to have you.
Love it. So now we'll leave you with our favorite Glimmer challenge, which is asking you to find and spread joy today. Farewell, Joylings. Waving my wand.
Farewell, Joylings. See you next time on the Fiction Fairies podcast.
Bye.
Bye.